With over 30 with over 30 years of experience, including work with Fortune 100 companies, she left corporate life to build a thriving personal brand and online community. Now she helps business owners use digital marketing to create financial freedom. Thank you, Tamira.
Well, hello. I'm not on mute, am I? Make sure I'm not on mute. Hi again, everyone. I'm really excited to be here. I presented this last week, and I'm moving away from showing slides because I just wanted to feel very intimate and like a conversation. And I feel these days everybody gets distracted with the slides and feel like they need to take a screenshot of everything. And I just, there's always so much information. I personally operate best, and I see it with my clients as well, when you just know your one or two things that you walk away with, and those are your takeaways, and those are what impact you the most. There's no way to absorb and take it all in. So, like the introduction said, I have over going on 35 years of sales, marketing, and leadership experience. On February 4th, I will have a whole 35-year-old daughter. And that just blows my mind because I'm a rounder upper and now she's basically 40. And so that is just absolutely insane to me that I have an almost 40-year-old child. Hello, I just turned 40 not that long ago. Well, I mean, it's obviously been longer than that, but that's how long I have been in sales and marketing. And during that time, I have seen just about everything under the sun. And this presentation is near and dear to my heart because it does have some personal tie to it. Last year, as we were beginning to take changes in leadership and administration, I had a lot of anxiety. And so, for me to calm my anxiety, I went into meditation, I went into journaling. And one of the things that really stuck out to me was there was a reason that now, as of January 14th, 2026, that I was woken up this morning and that I am still here, that my bloodline has made it through everything that it's made through. And not only am I still here, both of my parents are here. Actually, all four of my parents. I have bonus parents as well. My siblings, my children, and now two grandchildren, ages 11 and 5. So there's something that happens within my bloodline that allows me to still be here. And how do I tap into that to ease my anxiety and make it through whatever it is that we are going through? Because I get asked quite frequently, how are you dealing with all of this? This must be very difficult for you. And this isn't political. This is just real talk, woman to woman, right? And one of the things is that regulated nervous system, and that regulated nervous system helps to come about through community, right? And I promise I'm going to land this is going somewhere. And when I look at 2020 and being an extreme introvert, I always say, yes, I get in on these Zooms and in front of people and on stages and I speak, but I am very introverted. Like, I love when my grandchildren are over. I love when, because I'm kind of playing grandmother to my youngest cousin's baby because his mom and our grandmother are gone. And my mom is often busy because she has a fully disabled son, my brother, that she is the adamant caretaker of. So she doesn't get to help as much as I think she would like. So he's recognized that and asked me to step in. And I love having them over. I love hugging them. I love just absorbing them. And, they inspire me. But I am so glad when they go home. I am so glad to be back by myself and just, be able to do whatever it is I want to do and not have to think about or be around anyone else. So I'm an extreme introvert. And, the shutdown happened March 13th of 2020. And by the middle of April, I was ready to climb a wall. I went from celebrating, like, yeah, I don't know, nobody has to leave home. We can all just operate from our homes and our couches and Zoom. But by the middle of April, I was really beginning to kind of lose it. My daughter was pregnant with my youngest grandchild, my granddaughter, and so I had a lot of anxiety about that and being able to be there with her. And I hadn't seen my grandson, and like I said, they're my battery. So it was just really, really difficult. And one of the things that helped me was hopping on the Zooms for Polka Dot Powerhouse. That ability to be a part of something bigger than myself and the community. And so when I look at my mom being a single mom growing up, she was able to tap into other single moms and even married moms in the neighborhood, and they all looked out for each other's kids. If money wasn't running low, she could borrow a cup of sugar, borrow a stick of butter, and there were times when she borrowed those things out. And sometimes one would need a babysitter or the other, and sometimes she was the one who was doing the babysitting. And I remember hearing someone say, as things get rough economically and that, one of the challenges that people have these days is they don't know their neighbors, right? They, what, like I said, growing up, we all knew our neighbors, right? And if your mom wasn't at home and you were kind of acting up, one of the neighbors could just give you that look and you knew you better get right because she was going to tell your mom, right? And so coincidentally, naturally, that's just kind of happening in my building. Some of us are just really kind of getting to know each other, swap numbers, and are communicating various things that we know, kind of like the old school neighborhood watch. And I worry about those people who don't have that. And one of the things that I do, one of my gifts that I bring to the world is when it comes to business marketing trends, and that I have ESPN. No, I really don't have ESPN, but I just like to be cute and funny about it. But I can look out and I can see things that are coming. And by October, I knew and I could see based on what I was seeing on TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, and even Pinterest that people are starting to assemble in communities in their quote unquote tribes. So, one of the books I definitely recommend that you read is Tribes by Seth Godin. It's an older book, and I know some people don't like the word tribe, but we're not focusing on the word, we're focusing on the impact. Okay. And so, what we're going to continue to see in 2026 is we are going to see people looking for safety. They're going to be looking for something to plug into. They're going to be looking for something bigger than themselves, right? And so, what that means to you as a non business owner, it means that are you showing yourself friendly? Are you helping to build the community that you may need one day? You may not know it today, but you may need to borrow that cup of sugar, and it may not actually be a cup of sugar, but it may be something that you need. I remember a woman I used to work with, her husband was in sales and he traveled a lot. He made a lot of money too. And her son had muscular dystrophy and he was getting older and bigger. And they had bought a minivan and she was struggling getting him in the van one day by herself while her husband was out of town. A neighbor came and helped her get her son in and out of the van, right? So we never know when we're going to need that other person because of something that is happening. And so building that community and having those people that you can trust and that you know that you are in good hands with is going to be very important as the world becomes, unfortunately, more divisive. And in some ways, we don't know who we can trust, right? Because you may look at them and you may see, oh, yeah, they're my neighbor, and we wave across the street from each other that I can trust them. Well, you might not be able to, right? And so the way to do that is to build community and have that conversation, go over to their house and invite them over to your house and things like that. From a business owner standpoint, what's happening is AI is all through the feed, right? I know y'all see it. I know people complain about it. And yes, I use it. I use it strategically, but because it's my assistant. It's how I have been able to double my business multiple years in a row because it can do a lot for me that I don't have to do for myself. So there's this proliferation and saturation of AI content everywhere. There's automation of copy, graphics, video, and a lot of publishing barriers are removed. And unfortunately, that means that trust again becomes an issue because people don't know what is true and what to believe anymore. Because I just saw an image that, and it was a meme, but I don't know that everybody would recognize it as a meme. And it looked like a news, like it was something official from the news or, a body that you would be able to trust. And it was a meme and it showed a young couple and it said like studies show like 78% of the time or 95% of the time a guy never gets his hoodie back when he lets his girl wear it, right? Now that was a meme, but it had this look that it was from some place that actually does research, and they are all over the place. And a lot of them are talking about studies that don't exist, and they're talking about medical research and things being cured that are not, right? And again, I'm not making this political. I'm not going down the conspiracy loop. I'm just speaking what I see and how I can tell what's what in the feed. So anyway, there's this AI content saturation, and so there's not only information abundance, there's truth scarcity, and people are a lot more skeptical. So visibility no longer equals credibility, and content doesn't always equal conversion when you have this setup. Okay, so we've got income instability, rising costs, workforce disruption, and I'm just gonna be honest with y'all, AI is nowhere near where they're telling you that it is. I know because I work with it every day, and I am still much smarter than the AI, and you are too. Okay. So AI is not going to take anybody's job. It's only going to replace those who refuse to adapt to it and learn how to use it to become superhuman and intelligent. That's where it's really going to happen in my opinion, right? And so there's a lot of institutional distrust, a lot of safety concerns in public discourse and volatility. And what that does to the buyer is it makes them more risk avoidance. Raise your hand if you've seen your sales cycle increase, right? It takes longer for some people, a lot of people, to make decisions these days, right? And so people are looking for community, like in our polka dot community, there's a dot for that, right? There's a preference for trusted environments. And so you have to be a part of these communities as a business owner. And I would argue in some cases you have to create them formally or informally. And even if you don't create them, become a part of them, a part of school communities, a part of Facebook groups where you are visible, where you are being a good steward of that group and you are giving and you are showing up. I'm not saying give the whole farm away. I don't believe in that. I do believe in gatekeeping, right? But showing up, serving, and being a good steward to develop that trust. So what I've seen happen over the many, many years I've been online is people, if they don't need what you have or they're not your ideal client, they will become a pipeline to send your ideal client to you because you're visible, you're showing up, and you're earning trust through stewardship. And that is the beauty of community. I already talked a little bit about the diamond membership, right? And how there's these large group masterminds and these small group masterminds. And there are people who are like, "Oh my God, I quit my $20,000 a year mastermind because of what I'm getting from Diamond." Right? And I'm not here to say yay or nay on that. I'm just quoting what I've heard. But there are these masterminds, and they're the place where you can go and you can trust, one, that your information is sacred, that nobody's going to go blasting your name and your business all over the internet and, oh, look at this clown or anything like that. You are in good hands, and people are going to give you the best advice that they have and can give you, right? Some other examples we can note on this is one of the things that immigrants, particularly from Africa and the Middle East, will do when they come to the United States is they will all live in one house and everyone will contribute to a pot. And then I don't know how they pick the order. Then one person will buy a house and everyone keeps continuing to contribute to the pot. And then the next person buys a house and the next person buys a house, right? There are business corridors. One of my clients locally just rented office space in a building that offers suites. And the street that she's on, 6th Street, they are part of the downtown business corridor, but they are beginning their own for 6th Street. There are mentor chains, right? That's something you could come to Diamond and you could suggest is having mentor chains. I know sometimes there are different accountability strings. So what history shows is that opportunity flows through dialogue, not mass messaging. So dialogue is that one-to-one conversation, and that's why I have so many connects a week. And no, I do not show up to connects vomiting my business. I half the time forget that I even have a business when I'm in those connects because it's just all about the person sitting across from me, right? And your reputation traveled through small groups, not institutions, and your peer validation determined legitimacy. So is there someone else who can vouch for you and say good things about you that you can't say for yourself? So last week I talked about how in 2018 I created this marketing framework. I actually codified it, but I've been doing it for many years. Okay. And that is this, right? You post content that is going to create connection and stimulate conversation, right? And you want to take that conversation offline, phone, webinar, Zoom, Facebook Messenger, somewhere off of Facebook where it feels more like a dialogue and it's one to one to take it deeper, right? And from that conversation, if you are with Shakopee or the place with the magnesium and other health and wellness, you might want to do some sort of quick consultation, but it's really about qualifying. What bucket am I going to put this person in? Are they going to go in my bucket that they are looking to build a business and they are looking to become a consultant and do what I do? Or are they a customer? But either bucket, they end up in the same place in your community. And for me, that happened to be Facebook. Today's world, it could be your go high level community, or it could be a school community. And there are some others that are out there. And the reason everyone ends up in the same spot is for social proof, right? Your community can do exactly what I just talked about, and they can say things about you that you can't say about yourself. And it's where you warm up your colder leads. And then your hot leads are there and ready to buy. And that becomes your social proof when you post the right content and have the right strategy. So the other conclusion that I came to this fall regarding 2026, when you talk about community, if community is the new brand, then that means that identity is the new niche, because we have this proliferation and saturation of content. And we already know that your ideal client, if you're just talking demographics, you're already on the wrong track, right? And so back then, back like in the 90s, it was industry, demographic, and product category. Now it's your worldview. People really do care what you think politically. They do care what you think about the world. They care about your values. They care about your leadership style, right? They care about your lived experience. One of the number one things I hear from new clients is they love to see the pictures of my grandchildren and hear my stories about me with my grandchildren and even my children, and how I grew up. They love that content, right? And so that's why it's important to not just get on social media and only talk about your business and your offer, right? So from a marketing function standpoint, identity filters faster than targeting, because people want to feel part of your community and feel at home and feel safe and trusted with you. And people align from people. I have always said that people buy from people. Okay. So community is the new brand. That is your reputation, right? And brand today is going to equal your experience, the culture that you cultivate and create, peer interaction, conflict handling. And I'll quickly go through this. Two major, what I call OGs, original GOATs, greatest of all times, in the course creator, podcasting, digital marketing community for women who are not hardcore girl boss, hustle till you die. Recently made big decisions and announced big decisions about their business. One is getting rid of her podcast. The other is closing the door on one course. And there was all this scuttlebutt on the internet and people calling them grifters and saying that courses are dead. And there were people like me and my mentors on the right side of the fence saying, hold on, what's wrong with y'all? Do you know what all they have given to the community and how many of us would not be here or have made it this far had they not been trailblazing and showing us the way? And that shows people how you handle these situations, and they can feel a lot more in trust with you, because people fall in, it's about like, know, and trust, right? And so your community is going to include your own platforms, networks and events, collaborations, the masterminds, being a part of them, starting your own. And so if community is the new brand, identity is the new niche, then from my framework, because I had to modernize it, right? Conversation is the new lead. And that is where the conversion happens. You can go to my Facebook profile right now, and I just reshared a post from last night. In that post, it doesn't have the greatest amount of reactions. Last I looked, it had like 15, and it has comments, mostly from me because it's like a thread where I've dropped more nuggets of information in the comments. But man, did my inbox light up. And I sent my booking link out and sent confirmations because people booked with me, right? So conversation is the new lead. And that's why you want your content to be able to stimulate that conversation. And funnels tend to underperform alone. And this is the one thing that I keep working with clients on and just the public in general is that funnels are great, but the best way to fill a funnel is through your content and conversation, right? There's low baseline trust. Women buy differently. Automated and funnels usually that was all started by men, and that's okay. But it's just much more of a masculine energy. And if you have more of a feminine coded business, you need to have more of that one-to-one feel and touch points. And it's a high noise environment. Whereas conversation provides relevance, risk reduction, because you can see what it's like, you can hear my voice, you can get a feel for my coaching style, and personalization. So the decision path then becomes engagement to dialogue, relationship to transaction. Okay. And so with all of this being said, the customer is the new power broker. So the shift is going from reviews, referrals, and social validation to experience quality, emotional safety, and identity alignment. And then retention is going to drive that growth. How long people stay with you and continue to work with you. I have clients in my 6-month program who are renewing for the third and fourth time, not because we're not getting them results, because each month they get a summary of everything that we've done and they are progressing, but it's because they continue to trust in my direction and guidance. So finally, embodiment is the proof layer. And embodiment equals your message behavior aligns with what you actually do, right? Growing up in a single parent home, I always had access to my dad, right? But there were times when I felt like his words and his actions did not align. And that caused a rift in our relationship for most of even my adult life until we had a conversation about it and I began to see some changed behavior. So it's really important for people to see that I'm from the hood, as I will call it. That's kind of funny when you listen to how I speak. But anyway, um, I'm from the hood, and there's this phrase, don't talk about it, be about it, right? Don't talk about it, show me. The proof is in the pudding, the proof is in the action. I will believe you based on what you do, not what you say, which is consequently why a lot of people feel like coaches and consultants and that some are grifters because they can see it and instinctively, viscerally feel that there's a misalignment between what they're saying and what they actually see them do. So it matters because AI replicates language and buyers are going to verify your behavior. In fact, some of us, and Danielle will get a laugh out of this because we've already laughed about it. We can spot the overly relied on AI copy. We can see it a
Mhm.
mile away. Okay, because you begin to see if you're high in pattern recognition, you can see it. It's right there, plain as day, right? So your role in marketing these days is to reduce risk and accelerate trust. Okay, so the flow becomes identity to attraction, community builds trust, conversation makes the decision. Conversation leads to the decision. So wanting to just sell through funnels and through content without that touch point, it's going to happen sometime. But there are going to be people who just want to say hi to you and they just want to know that you are real and that they see you showing up online is how you show up in your inbox. So give them those few moments and you will create not only a customer for life, but an advocate and a net promoter. And then the customer is where growth comes from. And I don't think that that's changed. That's always been the case. So embodiment is going to determine your system stability. Okay. So your business takeaways is to protect your culture, treat all interactions as reputation, and that includes polarization because we didn't even really get into that. But part of your embodiment is to be polarizing, and that is to repel the wrong people. Last week I told the story about every time I get close to 5,000 friends and how that limits who I can message in that I start talking crap online. I talk a lot of big crap. I cuss more and I do things to repel people and make them unsubscribe from me, right? And it's not a bad practice because it's very difficult to go through and sort through and make those decisions on your own with 5,000 friends just because of the way Facebook has it set up. It's very tedious and cumbersome. So, you know, you want to help people. And I also go and unfriend people on their birthday too if they're not active. Okay. So, sales, if you want to increase in sales, you're going to need to increase human contact. It's how you're going to stand out in an AI driven world. You have to have human contact, showing up to Polka Dot, showing up to networking meetings, showing up to events and farmers markets, and being human is your number one vantage point in 2026. Reduce the pressure tactics. Like, I don't care if you buy it or not, but I'm saying what I got to say. Okay. And so build ecosystems, not just platforms. So I hope I stuck to 20 minutes and I will answer any questions that you have. I know it was a lot.
Quick question, real quick. Can you repeat that whole thing? Real quick, like say it again.
It was recording, so. Just send it.
Yes, that
Yeah.
is Danielle asking you.
Did you not hear me the whole time?
Good. I was seriously scribbling notes and you told me there was no slides and I had to pay attention.
Oh, girl, you scared me because that has happened to me on live before where I did the whole thing and and the mic was off and I'm like, I did all my checks today. So you know what? It just means we haven't connected in a while, so we should probably connect. And that's why I recorded it. You will be able to catch it on YouTube.
I will say though that I have been lurking in Tamira's world for how many 6 years that I've been a dot. And she's brilliant and I need to just shut fuck up and just working with her.
You are funny.
It's what I need to do.
I love you, Danielle. You are hilarious.
I know, I love you.
I love when Tamira talks, that she talks with passion. And that you can really tell that she really enjoys what she does, by how she is so passionate about it. So,
Thank you,
does
Gretchen.
anybody else have questions for her?
Hey, real quick, an actual question. I've heard this thing, I'm forgetting the lingo they use, but I've heard that we are experiencing a trust like deficit or whatever.
Yes.
Does that mean, you know what I mean? I don't know if that's the right word, but like
It's the right phrase.
trust is at a time low.
Mm-hmm.
Say that again.
It's the right
That's
phrase.
the correct phrase.
Yeah, okay, good. So it's really aligning with what you're saying. Like my entire marketing strategy right now, currently for this year, or that I've shifted into is called In the Room. I want to be in the room. I want to talk with people. I want to have FaceTime with people, either video or connects, one-on-one, groups, whatever. Like that's my literal marketing strategy because I know that when you experience my energy, you're either a hell yes or you're a hell no. And that's okay. And I'm okay being polarizing like that. But I think it's really important for people to understand, like, I get so practically pretty much turned off by reading people's content when I can tell that they don't understand how to use a mother bleeping M dash. And I know that they use AI to write it and I immediately scroll. I can't do it. And so yes, you can produce content, but unless you can like find a way to connect with me, I'm not going to pay attention. So I would love to hear what can we do in our content that like exudes trust outside of like don't use AI for the actual writing. Is there anything more you can say there, or maybe talk about like is AI something we can use in a different way? That might be a whole nother conversation. But do you see where I'm going?
Yeah, I do. And the way that I build trust is I show up exactly as I am, right? People will meet me, and I believe you've even said this, Danielle. You're the exact same online as you are offline, right? And I think that's the number one thing is that match, that congruency between what you say, what you do, and who you be. Who are you? And being congruent with that. I love my polka dot sisters, but there are people that based on their content and really pretty much based on their content and certain views, I say thanks but no thanks to the connect. It doesn't happen a lot, but it happens because I love polka dot and I love being a part of the community, But at the end of the day, I still have to be true to me. And I have to be me 100% because I've got these 2 grandchildren who are looking to me. I have clients who are looking to me. So I think that's the first thing. So I say y'all in my written copy. And the first time my mom's 2 sisters who were living together at the time heard me recording a video and I said y'all, they were like appalled. They couldn't believe it because of respectability politics. And I was like, fuck them respectability politics. I don't give a damn. Right?
Yeah.
And so I will swear in my content. I just don't do it too much because it can get to be too much and it can be very, very distracting, right? So that's
a lot more person.
yeah. I just show up as who I am, and if I don't agree with something, I say it. If I do agree with something, I say it, and I say why. So I think that's the first thing. The second part of the question around AI is you've got to train it. And I think the problem is people are they're going to AI and say, write this. And then they're literally copying and pasting it. That's what I call out of the box. And AI was never meant for you to, see, look at that. You can't get any more real than that. AI was never meant for you to use it right out of the box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got to go in and you got to spice it up. You got to judge it up. You got to say, no. Like I go rounds with AI. Like we have knockout drag out fights. Like no, that's not Tamira. That's not Tamira coded. That's not Tamira acceptable. And when you really look at the post, you will begin to tell if you look for it and you just really pay attention and read people's posts, you will begin to see the patterns. Danielle knows it's all in the
I think I'm looking
structure.
for 30 seconds. I'll show you.
Yeah, you will see
I'll
it,
train you.
right? The one that triggers me the most is the repetitive cluster of sentences that all start with the same 2, 3, 4 words.
You know why that pisses me off personally is because I am a very poetic writer and I do that naturally. And people
Yes,
find me
that's why it triggers me. Yes.
That's why it triggers me because I'm like, this is how I write. If you look at some of my original writings, you'll see that pattern, and that's truly authentic to me. So I'm like, fuck you, AI.
Yeah, I had to retrain the AI.
Yeah.
I had to restyle how I write because I had originally trained the ChatGPT and it would sound just like me. It was perfect. And then, I think they dumbed it down on purpose and some other things, but I started to notice like, why does everybody starting to look and sound like me in their writing? And everybody goes left, I go right. Everybody goes right, I'm going left. So I had to retrain it, and that's what triggered me because I literally trained it, on certain things that I know that are my style. Plus, I know effective copywriting, and it really bugs me. So that's the thing. Do not use it right out of the box. Give it samples of your writing. Give it keywords and phrases that you absolutely use. Demand that it shake things up and learn how to write. A lot of people, I originally trained mine that most people only read at like a 6th or 8th grade level. I stuck to 8th grade. I said 8th grade. I'm college educated, 8th grade. I don't, because I've got a lexicon, right? And I love to use it like a weapon. So I was like, we're going to bring it down just a little bit for everybody, and not to be, because sometimes, especially with the color of my skin, it intimidates people when I pull out that lexicon. So I like to bring it down a little bit. And so now that everybody is doing it, I'm bringing mine back up a little bit, and also because inflation, I'm bringing mine up a little bit to command more dollars. You pick up on that?
Hell yeah.
I'm bringing
Snap.
mine up a little bit so that I'm speaking to the people who comprendiste.
Yeah. Hey, does it feel accurate to you then to say it's less important about saying things perfectly and having the right like verbiage and like trying to like craft this like extraordinary piece of content and just literally being like, this is what's up, like heart to heart, like having that energy behind it?
You've got me jumping out of my seat, sweetheart. Because you just hit the sweet spot, and I don't know that everyone is Gen X, but I am Gen X, 1974. I relate. I identify as a Zennial, though. Okay. And I think Danielle, you're probably more Zennial or maybe even.
I'm 84, so I'm Zennial.
Yeah. Yeah. And so
They're millennials.
boomers, especially, and your older Gen X like to write social media posts like the catalogs of the 80s and the 90s.
Right.
I might ask you what a catalog is.
Right. Right. It's very like, you know, and AI will talk to you like that. AI will write like that, and you will have to check it. Like, what did you just say? What does that even mean? Right. And one of the things I tell it all the time is say what you mean and mean what you say. That's my personal style. I say what I mean and mean what I say. I grew up in a household. If your breath stank, mama told you your breath stank and you went brush your teeth. And you just had to learn to have thick skin and move about it. Right. And so it's direct and kind is what I've matured into EQ wise, but say what you mean and mean what you say is what I have to tell it. And so to answer your question, Danielle, yeah, I like to do 1 to 2 posts a week, what I call riff, where I just spill it. It's not even a vent because it's very strategic and precise, but it's a riff where I just really pour my heart out on whatever it is that I'm talking about. And it's very informal. And I'm going to give you a secret, especially on those colored background posts. Sometimes intentionally misspell a word.
I cannot.
I was gonna say you were gonna kill Danielle.
Intentionally
heart attack
misspell
right
a
here.
word. You will go viral, especially if it's one of the theirs or yours.
Oh, she's gonna go. You gotta go dig her grave now.
Yeah, you're
Gonna
gonna
kill her.
go viral because the grammar police are gonna show up. It doesn't work for me as much anymore because they figured out that's what I'm doing, so they don't show up as much. But if you can get it going outside of your followers, and if you have the professional account, you can track the numbers and see. If you can get it going outside of your followers and get it shared in different groups, and you'll figure out which groups the grammar police are hanging out in, they will help your post go viral.
Oh. See, I understand your logic, but it's hurting my body.
And I understand that, Danielle. But I think you have a very unique way and style of prose. And if that is truly what makes you you, then that is what you should continue. But the point is, being overly formal and sounding like a 90s Spiegel catalog is just not the vibe. It's just never, it's not the vibe. It's not going to work. Right. And I think the way you write is very conversational, and that's what matters most.
Yeah. Thank you.
Plus, you know, just from the other standpoint, I remember writing my first blog, and I felt very, very judged by my mother-in-law and my husband at the time about writing properly, saying it all, doing it all, that it stalled me. It stopped me from even doing it. And finally, I just said, I don't give a fuck what people think anymore. I'm just going to write it. I'm going to put it out there. And I said in that very first blog, if you are the person that is going to be judging me as you read this, don't read it because you're going to hate it. And I just thought if that's how you want to view me, is in my writing style and my writing skills, then you're not my tribe.
Right. And that's how I feel too, because I'm not a proofreader. I'm getting it out there, and then I will read it and be like, oh my God, people are not going to believe that you have multiple master's degrees. You better fix this. Right. And I don't care. But I know people, it hurts their soul to have to edit it. They don't want people to see that they edit it. I don't care because I'm human. But I also think that's part of why people relate to me. And I'll leave you with this. Your content is copy. Copywriting and what your grammar teacher taught you in 3rd and 6th grade does not apply to copy. That grammar does not convert. It doesn't. So if your content is not converting, if your content, to me, the best conversion of your content is for people to show up in your inbox without you asking them to show up there. When they start showing up saying, you're telling all my business. How did you know that? That's when you know you're hitting that spot. And I know Danielle likes when I talk dirty like that. So that's when you know you're on the right track when you start hitting those nerves, because your content and your copy needs to drive action. And what drives action is emotion. People need to feel a certain kind of way from your copy. And that's why you can't just use AI out of the box, because it is mimicking, it is not actually learning, it is not human, it is not nuanced, and it does not know emotion because it is not sentient. And so you have to go back in and add that.
Emotion is carried by voice. And so when you lose emotion, you lose your voice. And so when you read that AI stuff, it's just voiceless. It feels very click the button, I am not a robot. Like it's very washed. It's very clean. It's very pristine. Yeah. And so
very stale, very boring. I call it gobbledygook. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like when you allow like Tamira, like I'm a highly educated woman, but I say stupid shit all the time. And I use terrible grammar in my writing, not intentionally, but like, I say the dumb things once in a while. But I also know how to use a comma correctly, like innately. It's just in me. I don't double check these things, so I'm gonna do it. But what I'm hearing you say is that if your content is too pretty and it's too perfect, it doesn't come across as human, because none of us are pretty and imperfect.
That is absolutely correct. People don't trust it. They don't trust it because Gen Z, okay, and one of the things I learned from the Kim K masterclass, or she validated for me, is you really want to have a broad section of generations that are contributing to your success online, right? And Gen Z does not trust traditional advertising. So they can spot when that copy does not sound the way that people around them talk or speak, or whatever the correct grammar word is. I mastered in marketing, not grammar.
Do you think it makes a difference if you actually speak into AI, how you would, talk and then have it create your content?
It does, but you have to be very strict with it, because it still will try to override you and correct you. I tell it all the time. You're not smarter than me. Stop trying to rewrite what I wrote. I just want you to add periods where they're supposed to go. And if I misspelled something, fix it.
I know, right?
Was someone else asking something?
No, we're mumbling. We're talking shit back here.
Well, talk shit so I can hear it. I want to laugh too.
Fine. We were saying what I said. It just doesn't listen, and she goes, "It's the perfect spouse."
Yeah, it's very XY coded.
Yeah. It is. And I loved how you said the funnels work for the bros, because it's just much more masculine energy, and that we need to look at our business as femme coded, short for feminine.
Very transactional.
Because we are females.
Mm-hmm.
And I get people asking me all the time, like, do you work with men? It's like, yeah, actually most of my private clients are men, because they like to monopolize my time like true men, and men socialized in this current patriarchy, and the women love my community. But that doesn't mean I'm specifically leaving them out of the conversation. I just am I run a very feminine, community connection driven business. And so I speak from that perspective. And that is why all the bros and their funnels and their other advice, like, they work for them, but they don't work for me. They're not built to work for me. So understanding, like, I love preference for trusted communities is really important. Women have a preference for trusted communities that can be vouched for.
And you bring up a great point. You bring up an excellent point. Most women do prefer to work with women. Why? Because of safety. Because we're not dealing with the bullshit of, oh, I really don't want to work with you. You're cute. You're pretty, and I just wanted to be close to you and your energy. Like, and I dealt with that in corporate America in sales, right? So yeah, you bring up an excellent point. It doesn't mean that we're excluding them, but I vet the shit out of them. And the ones that I work with tend to have a high emotional quotient, emotional intelligence quotient, and we can work together without all that extra crap.
Yeah, sure.
Well, awesome stuff. Anybody else have any other questions? Well, thank you so much, Tamira. You did a fabulous job.
Thank you.
You are welcome. Thank you.